Well, here we are, up before the sun again. I believe it's one of the most undervalued times of the day for photography. We often get the same magic light as we do at night. But there's much fewer people getting up this early in the morning. Hello, we are back at the bird sanctuary. A little bit different equipment this time. This is the super cheap $650 to $1,300. Currently they're going for $150 to $200. I have had this lens a few years. I paid $119 or $129. I used it one time for a shoot that I needed it for. I knew it was going to work. It's really a kind of a, if you look at the reviews on YouTube, you'll find out most people say it's not worth getting. What I needed for that one, I knew it was going to work just fine, so I bought it, and it's sat in the closet now for probably 4 or 5 years at least. Be aware, this lens isn't that heavy, but it is super huge. It's actually a bit ridiculous looking. From what I can see, the biggest problem with the lens is the focus. So the travel here is just very, very small. And the other problem is they go f8 to f16 preset. It really should be probably starting at f16 and going to f32 because the depth of field is just so small. My guess is everything's going to be a little bit out of focus because from the front of the bird to the back of the bird, we're getting in and out of focus. So it's not going to be perfect. Other than that, the pictures on the previews are looking pretty good, and we'll see what they look like from the stills, from the film rather. But beautiful day. You know, I always see everybody take these things. They'll shoot like way over there, maybe the sign on that building or something. And then they'll complain about how terrible the picture looks. Well, it's going to look terrible when you're zoomed through that much atmosphere, number one. And like I say, there's literally no coatings on this lens. It's a cheap lens, and you know, they're gonna cut back anywhere they can. Plus there's probably only a couple of elements in here. So yeah, we're gonna keep moving. There's a couple of white birds over there, and we're gonna see what we can get. One of the things I have learned over the years of using long lenses, not just this one, is that sometimes the setup here really should have a rail system so that you can move it back and forth as you're changing the camera. Because if your camera gets heavy, the lens up in the front is really light and it doesn't counterbalance. So on this setup, you can see we've got a 2-pound weight to just offset the size of the camera, because the pocket camera is kind of heavy compared to what the lens is. So that 2-pound weight really stabilizes everything. And here I've just got setting on there, but if I want to do some movement, I've got Velcro, and I'll just Velcro it onto the lens. We shot some video with the Blackmagic Pocket 6K, effectively turning this lens into a 1000 to 2000 millimeter. We also shot with the 5D full frame video and stills with some 35 millimeter film. Canon EOS, and we're gonna see what we can come up with. Portra 800. The film turned out okay. A bit contrasty compared to other lenses, but that might have also been the time of day. The light was extremely directional. What's nice about this spot is even when it's crowded, you're fairly alone. The other problem I'm thinking is that this lens, even with this huge tripod, is shaky. And I think anything that's not over probably 250th of a second gonna look a little shaky as well. So between the blur and then a little shake, it's gonna look pretty ugly. So what I'm doing before I start shooting the film, I'm actually gonna wait for the sun to come up a little bit more so that most of this is getting directional light. And I'm gonna shoot from this angle primarily, so the light's on the front of the birds, and we'll see what we can do. Both the film and full frame camera were really hard to focus. Even when it seemed to be in perfect focus, it was really soft in the computer. My guess is the lens just isn't that sharp. Surprisingly, the APC size sensor of the Blackmagic was fairly easy to focus and looks really sharp in the computer. I'm guessing this lens may have been designed for use with APC size sensors instead of full frame cameras. This little island is probably 65 to 100 feet, or maybe 20 to 30 meters away. There was a nice group of birds hanging out on it. I wasn't expecting much from the film, but it actually looks sharper and better than the full frame shots. But the Blackmagic was by far the best. Everyone here but me was shooting handheld and were a bit taken aback by my setup. So now we're going to try the thing that I don't think is going to work too well. If you'll notice way in the distance, there is a white bird out there. And we are going to try to pull him in and see if this lens will actually allow us to have enough resolution and enough pull to get him. All the stuff right down here, we've got plenty of pictures of. I think this has turned out pretty well from what I can see. We'll see how the film turns out. I'm kind of looking forward to it. We got some nice light coming off of the reflection of some type. So yeah, it's good. It's good. And it's a beautiful day. Absolutely beautiful. It was interesting. I actually started having some fun with this lens when it was attached to the Blackmagic camera. On the 5D and film camera, it was really frustrating. More out of luck than skill, I did get a couple of in-focus, bad composition pictures of birds flying. This lens was really long and awkward even on the tripod at first, but after a while it wasn't too bad. I can't say I got anything worthwhile, but I'm not a bird photographer, and like anything, practice, experience, and just spending the time shooting would probably improve results. All right, well, it looks like we're gonna call it a day. Things have thinned out pretty good. All the birds are pretty much out in the middle now. lot of people walking around, and yeah, I think I'm not going to get much more than what I already have. I think it's been fairly successful. So what's the takeaway? If you're a full frame or film shooter, I would run from this lens. There is no way I would buy this. If you're an APC shooter with a hefty tripod, it might be worthwhile. It was a lot of fun for not much money. Well, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe, like, and comment.